Hey there, my name's Paul and this is Out of Neutral, a weekly tune-up where we look to the Bible to get in gear and follow Jesus into the life he came to make possible. Today I want to talk about why Catholics and Protestants don't read the same Bible. If you grew up Catholic and visited a Protestant church for the first time, you might be surprised to see that they use a different Bible. A Protestant visiting a Catholic church might be similarly taken aback. But it's not for the reason you might think. Outsiders might assume that the Bible has been changed as it's been translated again and again over hundreds of years, but that's not the case. Despite the deep and significant differences between Catholics and Protestants, they agree on the Bible's translation. The words used to translate the Hebrew and Greek scriptures into English are almost exactly the same for the 66 books of the Bible that Catholics and Protestants agree on. Where they differ is on which books to include. Specifically, Catholics include an additional 7 books in the Old Testament that Protestants reject. Approved Catholic Bibles include Tobit, Judith, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, the Book of Wisdom, Sirach, Baruch, and longer versions of the Book of Daniel and the Book of Esther. Understanding why they differ tells you something important about these two churches. Catholics call these books deuterocanonical, to indicate that they were given a final approval at a later date. They point to the councils at Hippo in AD 393 and Carthage in 397, which included the 7 books, along with a Latin translation of the Bible completed by Jerome in AD 404, which has them as well. But it wasn't until the Council of Trent in 1546 that the Catholic Church made an authoritative ruling that these books were Holy Scripture. For most, that settles the matter. The councils have made a ruling, so the books are in. Protestants approach the issue differently. As Protestants have read the deuterocanonical books, they've noted that, unlike many other Old Testament books, they never claim to provide a record of God's words. While they offer historical accounts and various teachings, they don't claim divine authority. More importantly, although the New Testament refers to almost every other Old Testament book, it never cites the deuterocanonical books as scripture and never quotes from them. Contrast this with the fact that the Old Testament books are quoted directly over 250 times in the New Testament. Why is there no "it is written" where Tobit, Sirach, or Baruch are concerned? In this case, history provides the answer. After 435 BC, the Jews considered the Hebrew scriptures complete. They rejected the divine authority of the 7 books written in the 2nd century BC and never included them in their Bible. If they had gotten this wrong, you would expect Jesus to have set them straight on the matter. His silence is deafening. The early church seems to have followed the lead of Jesus and the Jews. In fact, the deuterocanonical books don't appear on any list until late in the 4th century. And even as some Christians began to talk about including them, many of the great church leaders like Athanasius in the 4th century and Origen in the 3rd century argued against them. So it was not a surprise when Luther and the other reformers began to study the scriptures and speak out about the church's inconsistencies, that they argued the deuterocanonical books, which they called Apocrypha, should never have been added to the Bible in the first place. How you read these books depend mostly on where you find your authority. If your confidence is in the Pope and the councils of the Church, then the deuterocanonical books are in. If you need to be convinced by Scripture, it's hard to find a reason to include them. What do you think of the evidence for and against? What do you find persuasive? Share your thoughts in the comments below. That's all for this time. If today's video has helped you get out of neutral, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to join us on the journey.